This news program is proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Now Biscuits.
State Enterprise Minister commends PNG Port's performance. Poor state of common role affects 2022 election. And warring clans in Pogera Payala reach agreement on peace. Good evening, this is National EMTV News. I'm Godwin Eki. Thank you for joining us. PNG Ports Corporation Limited has presented its dividend of over 51 million kina to the government today at the Kumul Consolidated Holdings headquarters in Port Moresby. Presenting the check to State-Owned Enterprises Minister William Duma and Kumul Consolidated Holdings Managing Director Professor David Kavanagh were PNG Ports Corporation Acting CEO Rodney Begley and Chairman Kepas Wali.
The government-owned entity that manages all port services in the country announced a record-breaking profit of almost 103 million kina for their 2021 financial year. Of the profit, over 51 million kina was paid as dividend to the state. 30 million kina was paid earlier this year, and today saw PNG Ports presenting a check for 21 million kina. Upon receiving the dividend payment, Professor Kavanagh acknowledged the efforts of the company.
Ports contributed a lot to refloating the value of the balance sheet. As I mentioned earlier on,
PNG Ports acting CEO emphasized on the performance they continue to give despite the surging effects of the COVID-19 pandemic.
The dividend, which will be announced and confirmed very shortly, is on the back of COVID, and it's on the back of the challenges we went through COVID, yet again PNG Ports delivered an outstanding result.
The corporation's milestone achievement was everyone's input and mostly the input of former CEO late Fego Kiniafa. PNG Ports Chairman Kepas Wali took the time to attribute his leadership and vision of achieving declared profits annually.
It impacted on shipping and cargo, but with some of the measures and protocols, particularly on COVID, one of the first things that management did under Fego was that they isolated the protocols that they imposed on the wharfs and the ports to isolate ships from shore. I think it's one of the things that kept the ports going.
Wali further emphasized that with wise financial management and transparent operations in place during the hike of the 2021 COVID-19 pandemic, they continued to produce better results. He declared that they are expecting an improvement from these results for this year.
Payable today is 51,329,027 kina. So this a dividend for 2021 financial year.
State-owned Enterprise Minister William Duma commended the efforts of the board and management of PNG Ports Corporation.
Port is a shining example of what we as a country can achieve if we make those tough decisions and put in the right people and put in various operational plans for the SOEs to implement.
PNG Ports Board Chairman Kepas Wali concluded by saying that with wise financial management and transparent operational practices, PNG Ports has proved to be a profitable and relevant SOE. Grace Papiali, National EMTV News.
State-Owned Enterprises Minister William Duma has announced that PNG Ports Corporation is the only state-owned enterprise that made a net profit after tax of over 100 million kina for the 2021 financial year. Duma commended the performance of the state entity today during his briefing at the Kumul Consolidated Holdings office at downtown Port Moresby.
PNG Ports Corporation Limited, after announcing its final payment of 21.3 million kina, along with the initial 30 million kina that was given earlier this year, now adds up to a total of 51.3 million kina. State-owned Enterprise Minister William Duma said the results that the entity has showed reflects the management team.
Port is a success story. you will not often hear stories about our SOEs declaring net operating profit after tax in the range of 100 million plus. Port is the only corporation that has been able to do so far. And you heard that from the chairman that it has made a net operating profit after tax of 102 million kina for this year. That is a significant achievement.
Minister Duma further highlighted the significant milestone achievements for PNG Ports Corporation 2021 financial year.
Very recently, we witnessed the launching of Ports 30 master plan, and at the same time, the announcement by both Ports Corporation and the Australian government of the 1.5 billion kina financing package, the infrastructure financing package for ports, where our 15 or 16 ports right throughout the maritime provinces will be upgraded and will have new wharves, so to speak.
Grace Papiali, National EMTV News.
The European Union expert mission has presented its findings and recommendations for the 2022 National General Election today during the observation seminar at the PNG National Research Institute in Port Moresby. The Deputy Head of Mission, Dr. Razven Sylvain Zora, stated that the poor state of the electoral roll has affected the whole process. He said PNG Electoral Commission had a weak administrative capacity to organize the 2022 National General Election.
The head of mission stated that the general election 2022 had a high voter turnout with no official data of 60 to 100%. PNG EC was not able to organize elections in a uniform way. There was a significant difference between regions, especially in the highlands, as they experienced violence on security issues.
Initial mentioning was failure. All these international standards were failed. And then I personally asked the experts to reformulate and name these failures rather serious shortcomings, because we didn't want to put under the question the results of the elections and, of course, the current government.
Dr. Jora stressed that the election demonstrated serious shortcomings on several key international standards for democratic elections. There were serious incidents of election-related violence with more than 40 casualties. He said the Electoral Commission failed to organize the 2022 election efficiently and transparently. However, he mentioned that PNG voters demonstrated remarkable patience, and also the new government had called for an audit of this election and a reform of the election process, which is a positive action. The European Union Elections Expert Mission 2022 presented 5 major recommendations.
Well, a recommendation for the PNG Electoral Commission to increase the number of electoral commissioners. There should be, for example, 5 regional commissioners to help the burden on the central organization.
The deputy head of mission concluded that regulations should be established to allocate free airtime during the campaign period to electoral contestants by state-owned audiovisual broadcasters on equal or proportional terms granted on the basis of transparent and objective criteria. Estagane, National EMTV News.
Mining regulator, the Mineral Resource Authority, has installed a 150 kilowatt rooftop solar photovoltaic system at the mining house at Konidobu in Port Moresby. The grid-tie system installed on the rooftop of the mining house has a capacity of 162 kilowatt. It will be used as a power source, which will operate concurrently with the PNG Power Limited grid to supply the building's power demand of about 250 kilowatt. This move by MRA to solar rooftop panels will drastically reduce electricity cost by 60% of its annual energy bills, averaging about 650,000 kina, with the launching of its new photovoltaic solar power system, and also reduce its carbon emissions.
The issue of climate change has brought about new sets of challenges due to rising sea levels and pollution in the atmosphere. The level of carbon emissions in our environment is also very worrying. This has moved mine regulator Mineral Resources Authority to undertake the 150-watt rooftop solar photovoltaic system, which was commissioned today at the mining house at Konidobu in Port Moresby. This initiative was developed by PNG Power Limited with advisory support from the International Finance Corporation as part of the Pacific Renewable Energy Advisory Project.
We believe that with the experience from this project plus other 9 projects, we will develop a relevant guideline and code that will provide the pathway or roadmap pathway for solar PV on-grid connections.
The company tasked to implement the project was TAG Energy, a company that believes in using renewable energy as a way forward throughout the country. MRA's geoscientist and project coordinator Conrad Kumul spoke on the technical aspects of the rooftop solar system.
This project is, the capacity is about 150 kilowatts. It's a grid-tied system, meaning that we don't have a battery bank. So it runs concurrently with the PNG Power utility grid.
The Mineral Resources Authority was paying at least 50,000 to 70,000 kina in electricity bills to PNG Power annually. With the solar project, it is expected to decrease costs to about 20,000 kina, the first government agency to reduce costs in moving to renewable energy.
I guess one of the main objectives of this project is to cut down on cost, as well as being consistent with the government's vision in going green. So MRA being one of the main regulator of mining industry, we know that the mining industry is one of the main off-takers or main consumer of hydrocarbon fuel. So as the regulator, we want to set the standards, the benchmark, and tell our industries that we need to go green, look for green alternatives. So MRA is taking that first step.
In a small way, MRA's solar project reinforces its desire to reduce its carbon footprint in using green sustainable energy into the future. Rocky Iso, National EMTV News.
The petitioner for Western Highlands Governor Danny Gonol withdrew his court petition yesterday morning at the Waigani courthouse. Governor Wairapa thanked Danny Gonol for withdrawing his petition.
Western Highlands provincial seat was one of the seats that have been petitioned by one of the candidates, Danny Gonol, after the declaration of the newly elected Governor Wairapa. Governor Rapa explained the reason for him being petitioned.
I want to declare and I want to tell the people of Western Highlands Province, I have no court case now. Danny Gonol has withdrawn his election petition case against me. His election petition was just questioning the laws. It's nothing to do with the counting of the elections. It's nothing to do with the elections. So it was only questioning the laws of me being a long-term councillor and president. I did not resign from the councillor to contest for the national elections. So.
He says being a councillor for the last 25 years, he knows very well the laws for the local level government. He thanked his petitioner Danny Gonol for withdrawing the case and will now concentrate on delivering to his people of Western Highlands Province.
And I was not giving time to concentrate on my administration of the public servants and to run my administration, appointments, and all this. But today, all this has been cleared now, and I feel free. I feel free now, so I will concentrate on my appointments and administration the service, I will put up my budget.
He further says he had followed the protocols and had been elected and is confident with his winning. Samantha Solomon, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. We'll bring you more stories after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. Progress in the restoration of peace in Pogera-Payala district after warring clans agreed to lay down arms and return to their respective tribal homes. Representatives of the Nomali and Kungurin clans gave undertaking to cease fighting in the presence of a high-ranking visiting police delegation.
The event was initiated by the member for Pogera-Payala, Maso Karipe, with the support of the Pogera Crisis Management Team and stakeholders partners, being the Restoring Justice Initiative, Pogera Landowners Association, Lease for Mining Purpose Landowners Association, and the Disciplinary Call-Out Contingents. The undertaking to cease fighting was done in the presence of a high-ranking visiting police delegation led by Deputy Police Commissioner Donald Yamasombi, Assistant Commissioner of Police Samson Kua, Policy and Planning Dr. Philip Mitna, and Enga Provincial Police Commander Superintendent George Kakas. The member for Pogera-Payala, Maso Karipe, was blunt in his address to the warring factions to cease all fighting immediately as the mine prepares to go into restart.
No, some fight. You fight the You talk set man step outside or never one step outside or development so fight long come place long step outside and you know busy you come sit down or Kungurin come sit down or brother your leaders your council you come sit down and you come sit down and meeting or something fight by finish.
Mr. Karipe also gave notice for warring tribesmen illegally occupying houses of public servants in Payam or any property of the government to immediately vacate these properties before security personnel move in to reclaim them.
In the town area, state led. No one come inside. Police, anybody. Man or Mary who said to go sleep inside the house full of teachers or house full of public servants. Pick up and go. Losing town. I'm the government.
Deputy Commissioner Donald Yamasombi commended the clan leaders for showing leadership. He said a lot of the times when facilitating mediation, there is always a call for law enforcement, but they don't have all the solutions. Yamasombi concluded by stating that they will be willing to come back to support the process that's been established towards achieving peace in Pogera. Rocky Iso, National EMTV News.
The Minister for Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology and Sports, Don Pollier, embarked on maximizing digitalization within the sector for the next 5 years. Minister Pollier highlighted this on the floor of Parliament when presenting his ministerial statement recently in Port Moresby.
Minister Pollier highlighted that through digitalization, they can be able to connect and transform the higher and technical education sector through digitalization of management and enhanced access through digital platforms. Pollier says the digitalization rollout to provinces will provide an e-teaching and learning platform that will be accessible to all students, and added that an aspect of this digitalization has already been implemented as funding continued to remain a challenge. He said the department will venture into partnering with ICT service providers for affordable internet services for higher institutions.
With ICT service providers such as Dataco, telecom and mobile companies and others for provision of affordable and reliable internet service to high and technical education institutions. The HEST has also undertaken ICT capacity assessment for 18 institutions as pilot project to establish current capacities and what is immediately required.
Pollier highlighted that he intends to take a phased approach within his ministry for the next 5 years.
A digitalization strategy and implementation plan for the sector, including PNG National Open University. Secondly, digitalize Department of Higher Education, Research, Science, Technology, Systems, Process and Functions. And thirdly, we will implement national online application and selection systems in Papua New Guinea. And fourthly, we'll provide provision of internet services to cover at least 50% of public and technical education institutions throughout the country.
Minister Polye said in order to implement this phased approach to digitalize the sector, an investment of 81 million kina is required for a period of 5 years. He added that given the digital transformation and health pandemic, digitalization has to be considered a priority to improve teaching and learning in a secured environment. Sharon Engnui, National EMTV News.
Education Secretary Dr. Uke Kombra clarified that flexible open distance education, or FOED, technical and vocational education training, or TVET, is a way forward for students should they want to continue their education. He says one strategic plan of the Education Department is to see students complete their education both in formal and informal education system.
When a student comes to grade 8, they can continue their education through flexible open distance education, FOED. Right? So FOED is offering grade 7 up to grade 12 education. So any student in Papua New Guinea can be able to enroll at the provincial center, or in some cases what we call study centers across the country or in respective provinces. So FOED. And now we are also rolling out to some high schools. So high schools are also offering FOED. So students will come and attend doing FOED subjects through high schools. So that's another strategy we are now employing. So in that way, students can complete their secondary education. The other option, which you just made reference to, is vocational technical high schools.
The communities of the Community Mine Continuation Agreement, or CMCA, trust regions in Central Middle Fly and Suki Fly Gogo in South Fly District of Western Province received community learning centers this month. It is funded by the 10% Women and Children Funds from the Oktedi Mining Limited compensation package. President of the Women and Children Associations from both trust regions received the keys to these learning centers delivered by the Oktedi Development Foundation Infrastructure Development Department. This department has so far built 18 community learning centers across the 3 districts of Western Province in the CMCA communities in partnership with the 8 Women and Children Associations.
Middle Fly Women and Children Association President Ms. Charlotte Matthews received a key to the CLC on behalf of the 6 central Middle Fly villages. In her opening remarks, she acknowledged the support of development partners and stakeholders who delivered the CLC infrastructure, while commending the community, especially the women and youth, for making the occasion welcoming for all invited guests and continued support to the association. Ms. Matthews said it was a special day for women, children and the youth of Central Middle Fly because from the CLC, life skills training and capacity building programs will be facilitated for the good of the communities. This CLC will help support development and urge the community to take care of it.
This la building and you me get a mama one time will picking in it. Where you mean by working all trainings, blow you me lo here, but you kiss him good survey inside of this la building, lo helping me lo come up good place sit down inside of family, inside of community.
Similarly, in South Fly, the Suki Fly Gogo Women and Children Association also received the keys for the 2 community learning centers. President Mrs. Saridu Saudi said the CLC is a legacy project by the association executives.
This is the first of its kind that we are officially opening this permanent learning center, community learning center. Before we have officially opened our bush material learning centers, but they are all condemned now.
According to the OTDF Executive Manager Program Services, Mr. Eric Kuman, The CLC is a unique concept that aims to bring life skills trainings to the community, giving equal opportunities and shared responsibilities for the mission of educating all members of the community.
Desla billion and by giving me opportunity, location life skills training, na and by shape him lively. Suppose you come inside of Desla billion by education Desla school.
OTDF Chief Executive Officer Mr. Havini Vira said such projects will empower and drive the people to accomplish a better life for themselves. He said all this wouldn't happen without partnerships between OTDF and the Women Insurance Association. The CLC will be used as a clean and safe place for the community. It is fitted with solar power and was certified toilets. Jim John, National EMTV News.
And now looking at the Nest Fund market report, the kina closed unchanged at $0.2840 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.2765 US, $0.4368 Australian dollars, $0.2740 euro, 40.86 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York closed, gold is trading higher, coffee and cocoa closed lower, copra closed higher, palm oil closed lower, crude oil and copper closed higher. On the stock market, the Dow Jones, ASX 200 and the All Ordinaries are trading higher. You're watching National EMTV News. We'll bring you more stories after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. The Fresh Produce Development Agency has invited 3 key government agencies, the Bihute Correctional Service Institute, Goroka Base Hospital and the University of Goroka, to observe the World Food Day celebrations on the 16th of October, which was celebrated in Goroka Eastern Highlands. FPDA also invited members of the Nagamufa community living outside Goroka town, which have been displaced by the recent internal conflict, to have a share in the food items that were displayed at the event.
FPDA Chief Executive Officer Mark Warinu said the organization felt the need to appreciate and recognize key stakeholders that contribute to the development of the country and ensuring the safety of the community. Mr. Warinu said the Bihuta CIS facility is an important government agency that continues to provide a conducive environment for the citizens to be rehabilitated so that they become law-abiding citizens and contribute meaningfully to the nation's building. He said the Goroka Base Hospital has for many years provided Papua New Guineans with quality and affordable health care and saved countless lives. And the University of Goroka continues to develop quality human resource for the nation.
Give those produce to those people whom we think that they do in contributing towards the development of our country and providing safety for our community.
FPDA wants to continue this program by improving and making it better next year and onward for the other centers. Mr. Warinu paid special tribute to farmers and the farming communities in the country for being at the front line to ensure there is enough quality and nutritious food made available for every household every day. He assured farmers that FPDA fully supports them in its various programs to help them with capacity building that enables them to adopt best farming practices that promote sustainability to achieving food security and financial independence. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
More than 50,000 kina worth of fishing equipment was presented to Bodibaga Cooperative Society in Central Province by the National Fisheries Authority. This is part of NFA's shift into a new unit called Fisheries Development and Extension Support Program in collaboration with Provincial Fisheries Division in PNG.
After a long wait of 4 years, Bogibada Corporate Society from Barokau Village, who lodged their application for funding support from the National Fishery Authority, finally received more than 50,000 kina worth of fishing equipment last week in Port Moresby. Manager from Provincial Support, Bolton Towok, said the National Fishery Authority is now shifting into a new unit called Fisheries Development and Extension Support. Mr. Towok said they want to see livelihood of people improved as well as business-oriented initiatives for the people. In the meantime, Mr. Towok thanked Bogibada Corporate Society for their patience. He said because of the Port Moresby market, NFA is now focusing on fisheries in Central Province. Chairman of Bogibada Corporate Society, Hena Vai, said the long wait is worth it for the 20-plus members of the corporate society, as they will now have a motor with a dinghy and fishing equipment that a fisherman needs to improve their livelihood to sustain themselves and their business interest. Mr. Vai said this is a great initiative for the Bogibada Cooperative Society, as it will benefit the members and their family in the long run. The presentation was done at the NFA office, witnessed by Mr. Glenn Ghani, the Deputy Provincial Administrator, Economic Services, and Mr. Higa Penny, Advisor of Fisheries in Central Province. Sharon Engnui, National EMTV News.
The announcement of the hosting of Miss Central, Tiare Vavine, was announced today at the Hilton Hotel. The crowning will take place on the 29th of October at the Hilton Hotel in Port Moresby. It will be the first of its kind for Central Province to host such an event.
A total of 3 women will be contesting, and they are Miss Gea Bada, who is Sari Hiamo, Miss Maraga Robo, who is Vavine Leva Geno Noga, and Miss Magaubo, who is Angeline Veratan. Chairlady for the committee, Chelena Tamate, explained the reason for hosting such an event.
Sewn or brought together the garments for the ladies, and they'll be supporting them throughout the crowning week, which we will tell you more a little bit about later. So they'll be dressing them and in all their different outfits for the week. So very proud Central moment. We have our Central contestants dressed by our Central designers.
She further thanked all the sponsors for the support in empowering women in the Central Province. Commercial coordinator for Hilton Hotel, Robbie Turner, says they are pleased to be part of the activities that are taking place in the local communities and will continue to do that.
With a number of other key successful events throughout the year, it's really important for us to be part of what's happening in our local community.
The 3 contestants also expressed their thoughts on being in the competition.
We use our culture, our family, the clan, and our traditional attires, our passion into our values and beliefs. I think Central Province culturally we will be out there shining also. But yes, through this journey, I'm really grateful because I'm
very happy to be part of this journey, this learning experience. I also feel proud to be part of this program in hopes that I empower the young girls and women from my village. And not just from Riga district or from my village, but in all of Central Province.
PNGA, as one of the sponsors, was there to present 2 return tickets for any destination within the country. Tickets for the events are going for 500 kina individuals and a table for 5,000 kina. Samantha Solomon, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. Trukai Sports is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. PNG, the moment we have all been waiting for is finally here. At exactly 4:30 a.m. tomorrow, our national men's rugby league squad, the PNG Kumuls, will take Tonga in round 1 of the Men's World Cup tournament, which will be staged at the Totally Wicked Stadium, St. Helens. We took to the streets to gauge the public on their support to our PNG Kumuls.
The 2022 Rugby League World Cup is well underway, and our PNG Kumuls will have their first match in less than 24 hours when they take on the mighty Tonga team. This Tongan side is packed with most of the players that beat the NZ Kiwis in the last World Cup, and there will be no push over. This is what Roger Vagi had to say.
I just want to say best of luck, and all the PNGs are behind you. We wish you a very good luck in your games, and we hope we get the win.
Another supporter, Nelson John, shared his thoughts.
Good ball, my game last time said. So bless our at least PNG big bless about the or Kumus win like game. So now night them bomb absolutely bomb blast up go.
From the Highlands region, Andy Isaiah showed his support.
PNG winning this game because last previous 7 years game, 7 game would play. PNG been winning Tonga loss 6 time. 1 game would play and been draw. I've been drawn, so now confidence was in my boys play win this.
Stanley Tappen, the PNG Kumuls coach, has named a strong Kumul side, which will be captained by Rice Martin. Buala Wamili passionately shared his support.
Me got big confidence and trust for some PNG Kumuls will win the World Cup.
We also caught up with Gideon Knox, who was eager to air his support. Tomorrow, the nation will rise at 4:30 a.m. to view our national men's rugby league team, the PNG Kumuls, take on Tonga. Catch the match live and exclusive and free to air on EMTV, your official Rugby League World Cup broadcaster, or you can watch it live on our website by following the link www.emtv.com.pg/live. Lisa Puni, Chukai Sports.
Game 6 of the 2022 Rugby League World Cup saw France launching great dominance over World Cup's first-timer Greece with a 34-12 runaway defeat at the Eco Power Stadium, Doncaster, in the early hours of today.
In the sixth match of the Rugby League World Cup, saw France defeating Greece 34-12 at Eco Power Stadium in Doncaster at 4:30 this morning.
Being presented here in Doncaster, who will...
In the first half of the match, saw France launching their campaign in the World Cup with a hat-trick dominance of 20-0 lead.
Here trying to work their way forward and they will score.
On the 56th minute in the second half, Greece scored their first ever World Cup try.
A moment of history!
At the final siren, France claimed the match title with a 34-12 win.
A team that was playing...
Although this was their first appearance in the World Cup, the Steve Georgelis coached side has placed an impressive start in the men's round 1 of the tournament.
There is a moment of brilliance. He's going in and oh my word! What a try!
Meanwhile, this victory secured by France now brings them to level at the top of Group A with England, to whom they will face on Saturday to fight for a spot in the quarter-finals.
Got to claim it. Somebody's got to claim it.
Greece, on the other hand, will have to level up their performance to meet Samoa in round 2 of the Rugby League World Cup. Lisa Puni, Chukai Sports.
Chukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Chukai Sports.
You're watching Chukai Sports. As Athletics PNG looks forward to yet another busy year, athlete Terence Talio has a lot to look forward to. Terence, who's doing a short-term training stint in the United States, based in New Mexico, won bronze in the 200 meters at this year's Pacific Mini Games. The 28-year-old was rewarded for his dedication and commitment with selection to represent PNG at the World Championships in Oregon, USA. Talio ran the 200-meter quite well in Oregon, clocking in a time of 21.76 seconds. However, he was disqualified for stepping on the line as he ran the curve. A delayed flight back to Los Angeles for the flight home resulted in a missed connection, which turned out to be a blessing in disguise for Talio as Athletics PNG President Tony Green began communicating with New Mexico-based former PNG rep Sharon Kwarula about extending his stay in the US. After his contribution to the relay events at the Mini Pacific Games and most recent exposure, Talio is interested in excelling in both the short and long sprints. Talio is training under coach Diolori, who spent 3 years in PNG from 2017 to 2019. He is currently working on the technical aspects of his primary and secondary events, allowing him to conserve energy in multi-round competition. Talio will return to PNG mid-November and in the short term is targeting the PNG Air National Championships for December 9th to 11th with personal goals and building momentum leading into 2023. Dylan Strukai Sports, the weather report is next. Stay with us.
Strukai Sports. Strukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby partly cloudy, Alatau brief showers.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Tuesday, the 18th of October. The replay of the Rugby League World Cup matches between France and Greece at 7:30 p.m. tonight. Tomorrow, 4:30 a.m. EMTV will telecast live the match between PNG Kumuls and Tonga. You can also watch the live stream on our website. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.